So most of you have seen my footage with Gotham Knights. I've been playing the game. I've played it mostly on my 6750 XD build, which I made as a console killer build. It was more of a demonstration because a lot of folk have said, those people who are suggesting $700 builds are not using $700 builds. Most of them are using $2,000 builds, and they want you to play on a $700 build. I've heard, some hyper PlayStation fans say that. That's very dishonest because those same people, and I've seen some of them, I wouldn't mention any names on this video, people would say it's being disrespectful, have also said that, PC gamers are broke. If you look at the Steam hardware survey, you know how they sing these two songs line by line that contradict each other with just no, caution as to remembering that they had just said something contradictory to itself. So I made that build. We did the cost analysis. I put the different parts on PC Part Picker for anybody who wanted to explore it. It's a capable device. 6750 XT Ryzen 5 5500 will beat the PlayStation 5 and even smoke the PS5 Pro in most specific iterations. And you get a PC out of it for less money than a PS5 Pro. But I've decided that anybody who wants by now to move to PC already has the game and has the goods. If they want, they can always refer back to those videos. So I decided to go back and actually, upgrade that PC. This will highlight something that I feel is the biggest challenge that we see with consoles at the end of the day. So after making this, small move, I just pretty much put my 6800 XT back into the PC. Then I added the Ryzen 7 5800X3D that I bought at GameStop. Yes, I walked into GameStop to buy MLB The Show for $5 on PS4, and I look in their little corner. They have a little cubby in my local GameStop, and they carry PC components. And I was like, wait, what is that PC? What's that CPU there? And behold, I saw the 7 in the bottom corner of the box, and I've been wanting to buy this CPU for years. I just happened to not necessarily, figure out exactly what I would do with it. And I saw it immediately. I called the wife. I said, hey, man, is the budget committee okay with us getting this CPU? And budget committee was like, yeah, it's fine. You've been wanting it forever. And once I put it in, my frame rate jumped, not only from the 60-ish, it was able to maintain, which it could maintain a little higher, but now I'm seeing 160 FPS in some cases. Look on the top right corner of the screen of both footage pieces. You see that this one has got 60 FPS where I locked it to maintain stability. And then here, it's about 120, almost 150, 160 in some cases. Which brings me to the conversation that I want to have today, Bloodborne on PS5 Pro. This has been very interesting because this particular game has pretty much been, in a sense, locked artificially on the PlayStation 5. I made a video where we talked about it. Some people have said, it's just an old game. They've talked about different potential reasons, but many of them are not realizing that this game has actually been, patched up by somebody, individual, for 60 FPS. And Digital Foundry did something about it 3 years ago, guys. It's old, and somebody actually had taken his patch and theoretically, which he made the patch, but someone took it and made it to work longer. So a lot of these different reasons that I've seen over here, I just think are excuses for Sony. I'm sorry that, I'm not trying to diminish nor, dismiss what anybody says, but the data and not the data, actually the reality is right here in front of us that game is way underpowered to be running at 30 FPS on a PS5. But this is the biggest problem with console. You have to actually get permission to be able to play your game, or the developer has to come in and patch the game for you before you can actually do so and unlock the FPS. Now, I understand they designed the games with those limitations in terms of, okay, well, this is the amount of, frames that you can get from this base build because of the consoles. However, when you get new, equipment, that equipment should easily let you scale and easily allow for you to be able to go ahead and play your game without you having to wait for a, in quote, patch from the developer. Dragon's Dogma 2 is probably one of the few games, because they actually did unlock their FPS in one of their settings, that would probably allow for you to see the power of your new hardware on a console side. And this is really interesting because this game, Bloodborne, as I'm talking about it, it belongs to Sony. A lot of folk have said, From Software, A, B, C, D, and G. Okay, I get it. But can they not put a bounty on this game? I mean, think about it. If somebody could mod this game as an individual, do you wish to tell me that there are no, software engineers within Sony's pipelines that can sit down and figure it out and eventually resolve the reality of what we're seeing here? I think that this is just based on Sony just wanting to possibly come back and maybe resell this game, or they've just neglected it. That's just all I see. And this is where a gaming PC maintains its superiority, because with older games, you don't have to wait for developers to do anything. You can brute force most of them. Now, in the case of Gotham Knights, they did do some optimizations, which, nobody really came back to talk about. I'm probably the only person that you're seeing Gotham Knights footage on their YouTube channel at this particular capacity. But at the end of the day, I think it's really something that's, that's really interesting and really cool in this conversation. This is why, for the most part, a lot of, people who have ever played on PC can't fathom buying another, console right now. Like, there's just no reason for most of them. And as somebody who's just finally experienced this 3D Vcache technology, this is me being excited about it, because I've been looking at it for a long time. I have a lot of productivity desktops that, have a lot of, horsepower to them. But the 3D Vcache has just been, quite interesting, because now I've been thinking about maybe not going to AM5 and skipping the generation. But with what my eyes have seen with this FPS boost, and this is native 1440, resolution, by the way. This is not with any, gimmicks. I don't usually touch upscalers. I want to see what my hardware is capable of doing, and that's usually how I roll. And I was very, very impressed. I mean, this is beyond what many consoles are going to reach in years to come. Because again, the challenge here is, when the PS6 drops, I mean, are we going to be looking at old, outdated AMD hardware as its comparison? That's going to be wild. Because, by the way, if you guys don't know, the 1500X3D has been discontinued by AMD. This is why I saw it in a GameStop by any stretch of the imagination that you would buy your PC component that you've been looking for that's discontinued in the market, overpriced on eBay, in GameStop, which is just crazy. But anyways, I wanted to go ahead and highlight this in this video and talk about it, because I think it's quite necessary that we review and see exactly what may be going on with this whole thing. And, honestly, I wish that PlayStation would approach their games, in many cases, especially the old games, like Xbox did, because game preservation is a big deal for a lot of folk. It's insane that they're still just sitting on a game like this. I hope they also just maybe go ahead and sell it to From Software. Maybe that's going to solve the problem, and From can just go ahead and get the patch in, and you can now work it on a PS5 Pro. Maybe the motivation of the money is probably going to be the thing. Maybe From doesn't want to do anything for PlayStation for free, and PlayStation maybe, has unrealistic expectations at the end of the day. But that game is stuck where it is until somebody makes a wise decision at the end of the day. Talk to me in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. And hopefully we can talk in another one. Peace out.